one come on because nobody can get close to me. They're not even close. I'm the best fighter in the world.
There's not a man God ever created that can beat me.
There's nobody that can beat me. There's nobody that can beat me.
Nobody's invincible. Nobody's the greatest fighter of the world.
Mike Tyson is hurt.
He got a little overconfident.
Tyson is holding on.
There's a right hand uppercut and down goes Douglas. As suddenly as that,
Tyson needed something like that desperately.
Douglas comes back with a left and a right. Tyson is wobbling. Tyson needs the ropes. Without the ropes, Mike would have gone down. Down goes Tyson. Mike Tyson has been knocked out. The biggest upset in the history of heavyweight championship fights.
The greatest upset in boxing history.
You know, sometimes the guy just breaks your will in a way, and you just say, it. Buster killed me. Yeah, Buster killed me, kicked my butt. I don't know, I didn't train for that fight. I didn't really take that fight serious.
Welcome once again to Victory Yard and to a very special look at the fight between Mike Tyson and Buster Douglas in February 1990. With us is one of the principals in that bout, Buster Douglas, 1990. Looking back at that fight, you were a 47-1 underdog. What did you think of yourself as going into that fight?
I felt that I was very much deserving of a shot at the title, and was going to make a great account of it.
Why? Why did you think that when no one else did?
Well, I traveled the journey. I've done all the road work, and leading up to the fight, and I was prepared, and it wasn't something that was just given to me. I had to earn that shot at the title.
Was it harder than you had ever worked getting ready for a fight?
Yes and no. You know, it was harder, because it was my second shot at the title, second opportunity. But the work itself wasn't hard because I wanted it so bad.
Why did you want it so badly at this time?
You know, just looking at the getting the shot at the title, the first time fighting for the title, I was more or less had a chance or expected to win the title, and coming
against
up short
Tony Tucker.
Against Tony Tucker. And then coming back, fighting for the title again, I was given no chance at all. And I felt personally that, I was just as good as an opportunity as it was the first time. And I was definitely not going to let that opportunity slip by.
Now when you're in the dressing room before the fight, you're getting ready to be introduced, you're getting ready to make that march. What does a fighter think about at that point?
Well, it's going to happen. Leading up to the fight, it's been times that fights have been postponed, canceled, and I just felt finely tuned and ready to perform. And my biggest thing was not being able to. Something was going to happen for the fight to be postponed.
But at this point now, it is going on. You start the walk to the ring in Japan.
That's when I knew it was going on. I knew that it was going to happen, and I felt really good about it, and I knew it was time.
What goes through your mind when you're making that walk?
Well, a lot of things. You're just checking your system, so to speak. You're just filling out the joints, and you're loose, and checking the legs. You just go through a great deal of things.
Do you hear the crowd?
Yes and no. It's in and out. The crowd is, because your focus is so intense. That it's time now.
Many athletes have told me that they perform best when they're afraid. Are you afraid at all at that moment?
Well, I don't know if it's afraid or if it's a natural fear, but it's something that just, to me, it gets you alert. You don't want to take it to where it just totally overwhelms you, but you know, it just keeps you alert, keeps you, you know, focused to what's going on around you, and you don't let it go no further.
Are there butterflies dancing?
Oh, most definitely, but that's something that is expected, and you know it's a normal thing. You just don't let it just, you know, the butterflies get so large that they just take you out of the fight. You know, you just float on your inner spirit just floats out, but, you know, it's just something that keeps you alert, and you know it's time to get busy.
And now Tyson comes into the ring, and you're confronted by this man who's supposed to be a destroyer. When you first see him in the ring, what do you think?
Well, I know it's on. I know that he comes to do a job, and I came to do a job as well. But then you fall back on your experience, you know, from childhood, from riding in the car, leading up to the preliminary fights, leading up to the big show, you know, listening to my dad tell me, you know, that, you know, you get in there and you know, certain things happen. You know, that's one thing about my father.
He was a fighter,
right?
Yeah.
And he not only taught me the game of boxing, but he taught me, you know, he educated me on the fight game, and education was how you feel and how things look in the ring once you get inside the ring, and you go through a lot of different things.
When he fought Michael Spinks, you saw that fight. Spinks looked terrified before he went into the ring against Tyson. The fight was over before it began. You had none of that intimidation working against you?
You know, I fought on that card, and I was talking to an individual at the weigh-in, and I told him, I said, well, you know, you're going to see, you know, Michael's going to show you some things in this fight that, you know, shows that he's not as tough as everyone, you know, perceives him to be. And the guy just, you know, shook his head and was, no, it won't be. And it really, I was shocked, but yet I felt confident that, you know, Spinks was going to show a little better. But
and he didn't.
No, he didn't, and I was surprised.
Tyson almost withered him with a look. When you're in the ring, you're looking at each other, and he gives you his stare. What do you think?
Well, you know, again, the bell hasn't rung. You know, everything looks, you know, a lot larger than it is, and you know, you just don't let it overtake you. You know, it has to be the actual fight where, you know, things start changing. So, you know, beforehand, it's all good. It's just something you.
Just before the first round is to begin, you think you're going to win the fight?
I wouldn't say that. I feel that I was going to make a good account of myself. I was going to fight him. You know, I felt confident that I belonged in there. You know, I'm not going to say I walked out knowing that I was going to win, but I felt confident that I deserved a shot. You know, it wasn't anything that was handed down to me. I was maybe looked at as a patsy, but I didn't feel that way. I felt confident in myself that, you know, I deserve to be in there, and that's part of the fight.
We're going to go to the first round now, and Mike Tyson's going to find out very quickly that Buster Douglas belongs in there with him. By this time, he realizes you're not going to go down right away.
Well, he may realize that, but yet he's still pursuing. You know, he just knows in his mind that it's a matter of time. But it wasn't so to be.
The announcers commented right away that they perceived that you were there to fight.
Right. Well, yeah, comparing it to his last 3 or 4 fights where guys are coming in there 1 foot in the ring and 1 foot out. But the first round was an important round. It was very important. You know, it was just establishing that indeed that I was there to fight, and that I wasn't just gonna, you know, give it up to him.
Did you realize how much bigger you look next to him?
No, because Mike's a nice-sized guy. He's not as tall, but he's got the width, and you know, his physique is definitely a heavyweight's physique. He's just not as tall as most heavyweights. And then he carries a heavyweight punch. You know, and I know Mike probably expected me to stand there and just wait to get hit. And once I was, you know, moving around, giving him a little movement and fighting him, you know, that in itself was a surprise.
Could you see surprise in his eyes?
You know, that was the funny thing about, you know, throughout the whole fight. You know, I never seen, you know, a little caution or a little fear in Mike, because each and every round he came out strong.
So you didn't read any of that?
No, not at all. I mean, he fought hard each and every round, and you know, I would say like in you know, the round to come in the 8th round, you know, I was the one that kind of got out of the fight because I wanted to, you know, not intentionally, but you know, look at him and, you know, like, yeah, I'm here, and he's still in that fight mode, and that's where I got caught.
At the end of the 1st round, you were happy what you'd done so far?
Yeah, I was happy.
I don't blame you. Welcome again to Victory Yard and to Buster Douglas's stunning victory over Mike Tyson in Tokyo in 1990. Buster, after 4 rounds, as much as we've seen so far, you know, you've proven a lot of things. You've proven you're not frightened. You've proven you belong in the ring there with Tyson. Have you hurt him at this point? Have you had much impact on him?
Well, if I had hurt him, it wasn't visible, you know, but I knew I was landing a lot of shots, and I was comfortable with that, you know, getting my shots off, getting the punches off and things, and, you know, I just continued to do that throughout the fight.
Your corner was encouraging you here, telling you that you were in command of the fight.
They were very positive. They were telling me that, you know, I was well ahead in the fight and just keep doing what I was doing.
Was there anything special they wanted you to try?
No.
Just
they would just stick to the game plan, was just getting off first. You know, just getting those punches off and let them flow, and then the big shots will come.
Let's look at and listen to your corner between rounds 4 and round 5.
You gotta hold your concentration. Now you'll come back. Everything will be there. Everything will be there, champ. Come back, okay?
That's so important. We're so calm and collective in the corner. Everybody worked together so well.
You think his eye was starting to hurt him?
Oh, definitely. You know, he's starting to feel it. We're going into the 5th round, and, you know, it's an accumulation of punches, so, you know, it's definitely going to start taking a toll. You know, you're going to start seeing some visible evidence that, you know, your punches are, you know, taking effect. With an individual like Mike Tyson, you know, mostly when you hurt a guy, that's when he's most dangerous. because he's figuring that, well, if this is the end, and I'm going out with the gusto, and that's what Mike showed. He came back with a vengeance.
You seemed so calm, almost casual there.
That was just the outside. It was the exterior. Inside is rage.
Real rage?
Rage. Because of how slighted I was, and how I was looked at just basically a doormat, in this fight. Just a little notch in one's belt. I didn't take that too lightly. Again, because of, leading up to the fight. But
you took that rage out on him.
Exactly. I just turned all that negativeness into a positive, plus determined to, succeed.
I mean, actually, when you threw a punch and landed a punch, would you say, that ought to show you?
Right.
I mean, to yourself?
And it's going to keep coming. It was just an abundance of shots, it was, and once the fight was like getting into the later rounds, it just picks up.
You see that they're working on his eye. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's swelling.
Right, you're starting to see some evidence of, damage.
You look across the ring, you see that?
Mm-hmm.
And then what thoughts do you have?
Well, I just continue to do it because what I'm doing is working.
And to keep hammering at the same spot?
Well, not necessarily zeroing in on that, but just overall, from the waist up, you're vulnerable. So you just work from that standpoint. You just don't pick out a certain spot because that kind of takes you away from your fight plan. It's boxing, it's a lot of different attacks.
Let's take a look at that punch again. The right hand that snapped his head back, that seemed to have an effect on him, and it probably led to the treatment of his eye. There it is, right there.
Mm-hmm.
That was a nice combination. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got both eyes there.
Thank you.
When his head snapped back, could you see that? Could you feel that? Did it increase your confidence?
Well, it just intensifies what you're doing. It's like, say, you get a 3-punch combination off, then you want to come back. It's working. You're starting to see what your game plan is starting to execute. So, it's definitely a confidence builder. 5 rounds into the fight, you feel you have command of the fight at this point, or just that you're... I've never felt that I was, really, he was getting ready to just give it up, because he came out in each and every round. I was always taught by my father to just, as long as he's standing, just continue to do what you got to do until there's nothing in front of you. Then that's when you can relax and raise your hand. We've gone through 5 rounds watching it together, Buster, and at this point, do you start to think about pacing yourself? Do you start to worry about fatigue, or do you think he's worrying more about that? That's a good point. But in this fight, going into the 5th round, you do a little systems check. After coming out of that round, just breathing was going well. Felt like I still had a lot of gas in my tank, and legs felt good. Overall, I felt really good. That's you actually take a breath and check your symptoms. Mm-hmm. And do you look over to him and try to figure out from his breath how he's feeling? Yeah, you glance over, and look and see. But if you don't see any like gestures, you really don't know. It's just mainly that you check yourself and see that you can continue to do what you're doing. But you've prepared yourself to go more than 5 rounds. Exactly. Is there a suspicion that maybe he hasn't, that this is uncharted territory for him? Well, yeah, which he really, going into the fight, he had very few vulnerable things in his arsenal. So only thing we could go on going into the fight is getting him into the later rounds, seeing if he trained really hard to where he could sustain, with this fierce attack that he puts on early in the fight. At this point, have you felt any difference in his punches, in his style, in his movement? No. At this point, it's still going. I'm still getting my shots off, trying to find a good shot to land. really, I don't know. I don't really say that it's, I'm starting to feel him, decrease.
It's safe to say that at this point, neither side is overconfident, though maybe one side's confidence is going up and the other one's coming down. Let's go to round 6, see what's happening here. And the crowd is chanting Buster.
Yeah, that's the group that I came with.
Are those your friends out there?
Those are my friends. Mm-hmm.
Did you hear it? Could you hear it in the ring?
Yeah. You can hear it. And I also noticed how quiet it was throughout the fight, as the fight was going on.
It's not like being in Zaire and hearing shouts of Ali,
yeah.
or Vegas, which is just outside of Zaire. Six rounds out of the way, and again, even though you've trained to go the distance, 6 rounds against a man like Mike Tyson is considerable work. Do you feel any fatigue at this point?
No, not at all. I felt really good, and actually confidence has grown a little. Because I'm still in there, and I've taken some good shots from him, and really haven't been hurt. So therefore, it's all positive.
Are you beginning to see any signs yet from him that he...
I noticed his eye was getting a little swollen, but other than that, it was just,
But he hides the mental state.
Yeah, he's a very tough competitor, and at this point in the fight for me is not to get careless, and to think that the fight is going to stay at this tempo, and that's one thing that you have to continue, because things are going good for me. I mean, I'm in there. Basically, everything I'm doing is working, and not to fall asleep.
Does your corner remind you of that?
Well, they were just upbeat. They were coming back to the corner, embracing me like, man, you're doing it. Everything is going great.
So they were part of the group chanting Buster, too, in a different way.
Right.
Okay. Let's look at round 7, then. Back in 1990, Mike Tyson against Buster Douglas.
Just the right hand. Come on, why don't you do now, baby? Stay alert. It's your fight. Your show.
See, that's my uncle telling me to stay alert. So you got to stay alert. Don't think he's giving up.
That jab's a shot, baby. The jab right in front.
You hear what he's saying. Mm-hmm. You hear it and it registers.
Mm-hmm. Because everybody's not just coming at me, getting overwhelmed, and JD's talking, John's talking, or John Johnson's talking. Everybody's just taking their moments, picking their spots, and that's a professional corner.
All right.
Do you think Mike was getting sufficient help from his corner?
Well, I know all he's in trouble.
I think his corner's in trouble, too. If he's in trouble, the corner is.
Seeing, he coming out a little better in this round, because he seemed to have a pretty good round the last round.
So you think his confidence is coming back?
Right, and that's when I came back, and my uncle told me, stay alert, because he landed a few shots, and it don't take much to turn a fight around. And you see his attack is getting a little more aggressive now.
Right.
From outside the ring, I always thought it was more tiring, though, to be hit by punches than to throw them.
This is true.
Even I figured that out.
You're getting good at this, man. But no, it's throwing punches is a lot easier than getting hit by them.
At this point, I mean, are you starting to think, I'm winning?
I felt good. You know, it's just, you never know, as you've seen after the fight, but with the scorecards, you know, my father always said the best decision is a knockout, there's no doubt. You know, sometimes leaving it to the judges, you know, everybody sees a fight differently. You know, and obviously in this fight, those three judges saw it totally different. They watched a totally different fight.
And that is the end of round 7, and you're in good shape.
Yeah, and then my confidence starts growing a little bit.
For good reason. Welcome back to Victory Yard and one of the great upsets in boxing history, Buster Douglas's victory over Mike Tyson in 1990. We've gone through 7 rounds of the fight, 6 and 7. Tyson seems to be coming back to life. Are you worried at all?
No, actually, I felt very confident, you know, going into the 8th round. And I think I got a little too confident, you know, with, you know, wanting to, you know, look at him and see his reaction instead of just continuing to stay in my flow.
And you said before that your father had told you that the best decision is a knockout.
Right.
And the idea of a knockout obviously must have been in your head.
Well, yeah. You know, I like to get in there and get them over quick if possible. But, you know, if they don't come early, you still have to stay focused and just keep working until they do.
So, but your confidence was still there.
Oh, I had big confidence going into the 8th round.
Yeah.
You know, and I think I kind of got overconfident, you know, threw a little less punches in that round because I wanted to physically, you know, just look at him and
measure him.
And measure him. Well, just look at him and just to show, like, you know, what do you think now? And I got an answer for that.
Okay, let's take a look at round number 8, which was not your best round in the fight.
No, I wouldn't say it was.
Again, he looks here like he's eager to fight.
Right, he comes out each and every round. I mean, trying to turn it up a notch.
And they're not exactly backing up.
No, I'm just not really, you know, this is part of being alert. You know, started getting a little lackadaisical, you know, thinking everything was going fine, which it was, but still you have to maintain, you know, what's gotten you to this point. I stopped throwing punches. Notice how he walked in without even getting touched with a jab or a right hand. You know, starting to, you know, getting a little lazy there. See, I think he landed more punches in this round than he had previous rounds.
Were you angry with yourself?
Yes. And I felt that, from being out of position caused that to happen. Like, I felt it, it was basically, I got hit in the chest, so it wasn't like...
The punch came up through the chest to the jaw?
Right. Well, he hit me flush on the chin, but I felt, it wasn't like, I was seriously hurt. I just felt that I was squared up on him, and he caught me, and knocked me off balance.
A dumb mistake on your part?
Exactly. And that was the reaction from, when I was on the cameras.
And of course, there was later great controversy about how long could you have gotten up much earlier?
Yes, but again, being taught, you got 10 seconds and take the 8 count instead of jumping right up.
Sure.
Basically do a body check. Just see if you feel everything is still there. Like, if you don't feel half your body, then you are hurt.
There was no loss of
not at all.
Of anything.
No, had all my faculties in.
Let's take another look. I'm sure you don't want to take another look at that punch.
No, we could go past it.
Yeah,
you want to look at it again.
We'll take one more look at that punch, the one that knocked you down here in the 8th round. It slides up your chest and squarely onto the chin.
Right on the chin. Hit him on the butt. And right there, the tide has just changed. Mike has gotten new wind, new life, and I have to come up with just the same.
How tough is that to do?
Well, it's not really, the way the fight was going, and, knowing, not getting excited on my part, not getting excited about what just happened, and get back to what had led me up to this point during the fight, which was, staying focused and, working off my jab and just staying busy instead of, decreasing the punch output.
At the same time, you've done something sloppy and you've gotten yourself in trouble. Does it help you at all to know that you can take a punch that square and still get back up? Oh,
that's a motivating factor, but still, the tide is in his favor now. The momentum has shifted now. He's going to come out with major intensity now.
You went down from that uppercut, a slightly long count, no Dempsey Tunney, but a slightly long count. Then you go back to your corner. How quickly did your head clear?
Well, again, I didn't feel any major effect from the punch itself. I thought it was basically, I was off balance, and I felt I took it more in the chest, so I didn't really feel the punch itself.
So if there was any anger, it was with yourself. Do you then direct that at Tyson?
Well, I know instantly that the fight has changed. I mean, he's going to come out, with a vengeance now, and I just have to suck it up and be able to meet him with his force, meet him in the center of the ring, because I know it's on now. Let's
take a look at how that strategy works in round 9, 1990, Tyson Douglas. He comes out as you expected.
One important thing, leading into the 9th round was after the 8th round, I came back to the corner, and they revived me. They did what they did a great job in the corner.
Is that the momentum change again?
Right. Well, it's just letting them know that that I'm still here, because I knew I had to do something to let him know that he still has to respect me.
You're letting him know. Are you also letting yourself know?
Right. Well, and that's just something that just to let him know is the whole spectrum. Is to that I'm still dangerous. So don't just think I'm still feeling the effects from the knockdown, and that. The fight is still on.
So the message came through to Tyson.
Right,
now we'll see it. Now we'll see it come through even clearer. We'll watch the rest of round 9, the rest of the fight.
Basically, we're just right there trading. He still feels very confident. His confidence is. Increased tremendously.
Despite your comeback.
Right, and I still have to stand in there and, show him. For me to start running around, the fight's over because he's just going to, catch 3 and 4 wins, not a second win, but 3 and 4 wins, his confidence is just going to be off the hook. So I have to stand there and, roll with the punches and show him that, I'm still in the fight. And also the judges, to show the judges that, let's not get carried away. But obviously that didn't work.
It didn't, yeah. The judges were watching another fight.
Yeah, the judges already had the scorecards filled out or something. We wasn't expecting to work that night.
Do you feel you're ready to take him now?
Well, I'm trying. I'm trying. He's taking some, tremendous shots in there, and I tell you, he fought a great fight. He really gained my respect because he showed me a lot. He answered a lot of questions, that I had leading into that fight.
How many good blows did it take?
Mike has a great chin. Takes good shots because, I landed throughout the fight some good shots, and, he took them and came back.
Let's look at some of those punches from that round, some of your better punches. This was a very, very strong round.
Yeah, he took them and.
And you were showing no signs of the knockdown from the previous round.
Right. I knew I had to come out big because of it. I know he was coming out big in that fight. In that 9th round because of the knockdown.
It's easy to know it, but it's hard to do it.
Right, exactly. Putting it all together is another thing.
Is this, this night, is this as well as you had ever fought?
I just asked God to let me show that I indeed can fight. Just to show, just one time that that I belong in this professional fighting. That I can do this, and I was blessed enough to get that.
What did you think going into the 10th round? Did you think you had him here?
Well, I felt good about the 9th round, and it was just getting back on my program. I was satisfied that I had gotten back to where I had been earlier in the fight, and I was just going to continue it.
Was he showing signs that he was ready to be taken now?
Well, I knew I heard him a couple of times during the 9th round. It was just turn up the volume.
Let's turn up the volume, turn up the picture. Let's look at round 10, Tyson Douglas, Tokyo 1990.
So he came out in that 10th round, strong.
What did you read in his body at this point?
Just continue to work. Dick, all I was doing was just working, man. Because I got caught trying to read his body, trying to, look at it,
in the 8th round.
In the 8th round. So it was just back to business and, just keep working.
I mean, you obviously, you know, were not quite as exuberant as the people around you.
Right.
You were still...
Because I wasn't, I mean, you know, I was happy. I was really excited about it, but, you know...
It hadn't sunk in at that point.
A little bit of that, too. I knew I just won a heavyweight championship. You know, I just defeated Mike Tyson, but, you know, I wasn't, you know, surprised, you know, because I felt that I just got my blessing. My blessing was answered, just to show that no matter I spoke about this leading up to a fight with my friends, telling them that, you know, I just want to, no matter what happens in this fight, they're going to know that I can fight, that I definitely can fight.
And at this point, had you, you know, used all your energy? Did you let it all go then in that last round? No, I just, you know, letting my shots go. It wasn't that I just loaded up, said, well, I'm just going to take him out in this round. I'm going to give it all I got. You know, I never fought like that. Well, never been in a position to fight like that. Let's look again at the final flurry, at the final punches that ended Mike Tyson's reign as heavyweight champion.
And even then, after he went down, I felt that he was going to get up. But when I noticed searching around for his mouthpiece, I knew then that he was hurt.
You still thought he might get up from all that?
Right. Until I noticed that he was, you know, searching for that mouthpiece. And I knew then that it was over, that he was actually hurt. Because throughout the fight, Mike, you know, he was strong. I mean, he stood up and he fought like a champion. And, you know, we all in my camp thought that, you know, he'd get 4 or 5 rounds behind, you know, he's really getting popped on, that he would just, you know, like he would just give up.
What's the feeling when you realize he's not going to get up? When you realize it's over, when you realize, is there any sympathy for him? Is there exultation? I mean, is there an understanding, because you're a fighter yourself, of what he's going through?
Well, you know, the first thing was, you know, I just thank God that, you know, that he gave me the strength, and, you know, he was there with me, you know, throughout the fight. But, you know, it was a fight. You know, I knew Mike, I had gained a lot more respect for Mike after that fight.
Did you realize, you know, at that point that this was quite possibly the greatest upset in the history of sports?
No, I hadn't even.
Does it bother you that people refer to it as that?
No, it doesn't. You know, I just feel truly blessed that, you know, in my life, you know, all I wanted to do was leave a mark that, you know, that I was here, you know, and I was blessed enough to leave a mark that, you know, that I existed in this world.